Welcome to Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, the wildest mixed tag team in podcasting where the kayfabe drops and the chaos takes over. Let's ring the damn bell.
Headlock tight, heels on the prowl, dropping elbows, hearing growl, feel the foul. No script here, just real, no bluff. Kayfabe crack, now the dirt gets rough. Headlocks, heels, havoc in the zone. Stepping in the ring, chaos at your home. No filters, no mask, just raw bare tone. Wrestling unscripted, we on the throne. Title bells, mic checks, crowd going crazy. Drop truth bombs, leaving lines feeling hazy. Beyond the kayfabe, past the charade, where legends are born and stories get made. Headlock, stop it, who's hitting the mat? Welcome to the havoc where the real talk's at. Tune in, step through, leave the fake at the door. Headlocks, heels, havoc, now hear the roar.
Welcome to Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am one half of the greatest tag team in podcasting, the legend J-Mac. With me as always, the man that's always ready for the hot tag, everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Slam.
What's up?
What's up, everybody? Everybody ready for Snowmageddon?
Yes, we are. I hope everybody's got your big blankets and your candles and your batteries and stock up on all your favorite little snacks because we're probably gonna be snowed in for a couple days. A little day off of work. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. As long as you don't have to work in this. So enjoy. Go sledding. Have fun with your kids.
Yeah, everybody was sitting there asking me at work yesterday. They were like, "Hey, you ready for this? You ready for this?" I was like, "I ain't done nothing different." I was like, I got food at the house, and they're like, "Yeah, but what about your electricity if it goes out and everything? Or do you have gas stove and everything so you can still cook?" I was like, "Man, I got all kinds of sticks outside laying in my yard just waiting to be burnt, man. I will go outside and build a fire and cook something. I promise I'll survive."
Like they said, there's two types of people. There's the ones that over-prepare, and then there's the legend J-Mac. I'm good. Got this. I've been waiting for this my whole life.
Right. I've been waiting to use this bug out bag. Oh man, no, but in all seriousness, everybody be safe out there and everything. If it does come down and everything, make sure you are prepared. Don't get yourself caught in a bad situation.
If you ain't got to go to work, don't.
That's right.
Unless you're one of the the necessary, like the cops, the EMS, nurses, stuff like that. And then still pray for you too. You know what I'm saying? Be safe. But everybody else, keep your butt at home.
That's it. It ain't worth it. That's it. It ain't worth it. They'll replace you in a week after you're gone.
Yeah.
So it definitely ain't worth it.
Stay home. Listen to the Headlock, Heels, and Havoc podcast. That's what I would do.
There you go. I think it's a great idea. Just binge watch it. There's we were talking to Tom the other day. We got like 157 episodes or something like that.
See, that'll take a lot of time. And plus you don't even have to watch. You can listen to it while you do something. So even better.
That's it. You can get some of that cleaning done you've been meaning to do. You can work on that car, like you pull it into the garage. Work on it while you blasting some headlocks.
If you just want to ignore your wife who's yelling at you, plug it in, listen to it. Hey, there you go.
And for all you wives that want to ignore your husband, hey, plug in and just listen on up.
There you go. Ignore him. He can make his own sandwich. There you go.
That's right. And when you do that, though, don't forget to hit that like, share, follow, and subscribe. That way we can keep bringing you this great content every single week.
There you go. There you go. That's what I like to hear.
Yes, yes. No, it's been kind of a slow week. There's been a couple of big stories in that I've seen. I haven't seen much, big that's going on in wrestling. I do want to give a shout out before we get started. Bobby Duncombe. I don't know if you remember his son. but his son wrestled in WCW around the time of the NWO, Bobby Duncan Jr. He
Hmm.
was kind of had the Dustin Rhodes, Barry Windham type look, long blonde hair, wore kind of the cowboy boots style wrestling boots like they did. Um, I'm trying to think. The biggest thing that I could really say that I know that he did in WCW was he was part of the West Texas Rednecks with
Okay.
Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig, excuse me, and all them whenever they did the song "Rap is Crap."
Yeah.
Yeah. I went back and watched that the other day. It was hilarious, man. Them trying to act like they were playing those instruments and stuff. It was absolutely terrible. They're talking about rap is crap, and that song was absolutely horrible.
Crap too.
Right, but no, Bobby Duncan Jr. He passed away years ago. I want to say it's around 2000. I don't know the cause of his death. So I don't want to speculate. But his dad passed away the other day. Bobby Duncan Sr. He was a Bobby Duncan Sr. was a big time tag team wrestler in the WWF.
Okay.
Tag team champion. I want to say he was big. You know, he was a big name everywhere. I guess. You know, I'm not saying he was just big in the WWF, but you know, he was a big name everywhere. But I just wanted to give him some recognition and everything. Like I believe it was Professor Bear that we were talking to. That was talking about giving people their flowers and stuff
Yeah.
while they're,
Before they go. Yeah.
you know, I hate that, you know, it's funny because like it's stuff like this, and it's unfortunate, but it's stuff like this that makes me go back and watch Bobby Duncan matches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To find out, okay, well, who was Bobby Duncan? Who, you know, why was he such a big deal? You know,
Yeah.
blah blah blah, or you know, what made him as big of a deal as he was, and everything. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of nice that he gets that recognition, but it's sad that again it comes
It
after
came,
he
yeah, it
dies,
came a
and
little too late. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, yeah, if you got time out there too, people go out there and check out some Bobby Duncan stuff. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. You know, he's considered a legend for a reason, but I just wanted to give him a little recognition where he did pass away this past week, and you know, just you know, say, hey, sorry, I don't have any visuals to put up on the screen, guys. We're having some technical issues. I can't get stuff to download, but yeah, that's just the way it is this week. You know, you get to look at our pretty new artwork. Says Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, Suplex,
Hey,
City
that's nice too, though.
Stories.
You cannot beat that.
So, and I apologize too, guys. This cold weather's got my nose running like crazy. Um, so Ric Flair came out, which I mean, I know. I'm thinking Ric Flair and Bret Hart have the same syndrome, where they've just taken a few too many shots to the head or something, or maybe Ric Flair's just taking a few too many shots. That's all it is. But
Well, I know how. I mean, he did take a lot of fucking chair shots. Did definitely took a lot of chair shots.
well, no, I'm talking about just shots in general, like
Oh
Jack
well, yeah,
Daniels.
shots of
And,
alcohol. I mean,
yeah. He's
I don't
definitely taking too many of those.
the only other person I think that probably drinks as much as he has is probably like Andre or somebody, and Andre just was on a different level. But yeah,
Rick had that Andre drinking ability in a normal man's body.
yeah, like the doctors didn't believe that he drank as much as he
Yeah.
actually did. Like they asked him how much he drank, and then he told them, and they're like, "No." He's like, "Every day." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, that's not possible." He's like, "Doc, I'm telling you, this is what I do." But
Right?
that's also why he also, I'm pretty sure, didn't he have a liver transplant?
I don't know if he had a liver transplant, but I know his organs started to shut down on him. because of the fact that he just all the years of abuse. But see, I was going to say is after saying that is you would think that he would quit, but
Yeah, but he hasn't.
he's
Oh
still no, he's still
no.
drinking and going hard just like always. I'm like, man,
Yeah. Ric
and
Flair
that's
is Ric Flair.
right, and that's why I kind of asked that question. I believe it was with Bobby Blade when we were talking about. I wonder if that plane crash just made him realize that life could end at any point in time. So I'm going to actually be Ric Flair and I'm going to live this and just enjoy my life. You know what I'm saying? I can be one of the best, but I've got to go all in.
Yeah.
You
And
know, I think it kind of made him see the light of I can't do this half ass. If I'm
yeah,
going to be Ric Flair, I'm going to be Ric Flair.
and I think to be the best, unfortunately, there has to be great sacrifice. I think if you look at any professional athlete, whether it be wrestler, football player, basketball player, there's sacrifices that are, they're going to be made. I'm pretty sure Tom Brady to get those 7 championships, he missed out on a lot of stuff with his kids. He missed out on a lot of family moments. I'm pretty sure when it came to MJ getting his rings and stuff, there was times that he couldn't, be at family functions. He had to miss birthdays, he had to miss holidays and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That just what came with the job. And sometimes that that just comes with it. Like you have to give up to get a lot.
Yeah, it definitely does. I definitely 100% agree. And I mean, Ric Flair is definitely an example of somebody who gave up, the
A
family
lot,
life
yeah.
for being Ric Flair instead of Richard Fleer. But to get back to what I was saying, sorry, I got off on a rant there. Um, so Ric Flair revealed WWE star doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. He wants to remain relevant in the industry by using my name as he could not succeed in any promotion and was a failure in ECW, WCW, and WWE. He never succeeded anywhere. Ric Flair says ex WWE star does not belong in the Hall of Fame. He's speaking about Shane Douglas.
Oh,
What are your thoughts?
Shane Douglas?
Yes.
Let's see. I mean, he was pretty big and he's been around a long time. Like I said, I mean,
Not on a top 10 scale, but
okay.
on just a scale of 1 to 10.
Of a
How
WWE,
relevant? No. Just in a scale of relevancy. 10
how
being more
how
relevant.
relevant is he like
Yeah.
now or in the past?
Just in general, like his whole career, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most relevant, 1 being the least relevant, where would you place his relevancy as far as his career? Shane Douglas. And do you think it's Hall of Fame worthy?
If you're talking about Hall of Fame as far as WWE, no. If you're saying maybe ECW, yes. If you're talking WCW, probably not. Because those are the main organizations that I've known him from or whatever. I guess it just kind of goes in context. Like I said, I know who he is. I was never a huge fan of his. Like I said, if you're talking about as far as ECW, hell yes, he's he definitely deserves to be in there. He's one of the people that kind of got it started. Like I said, if you're talking WWE, no. WCW, probably not either. So as far as relevant scale, I mean, maybe a little more than like a 6, maybe 7. No, 6, like 6.5, I guess. To me, in my opinion, that's just my opinion because the only way I really know him is through ECW and trashing the belt and all that other stuff. So, and I know he did other shit before, but that's all I know of him. So, yeah, 6.5.
I remember Shane Douglas when the first time I seen him was with the Dynamic Dudes. him and John Laurinaitis, better known as Johnny Ace at the time.
Mhm.
So I didn't know if you knew this, but John Laurinaitis is Johnny Ace was Animal's brother, Road Warrior Animal.
Yeah, I think I've heard somebody say that before.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew that. Just a little fun little fact.
Yeah.
But no, so going back to what I was going to say is, so I remember him in that tag team with the Dynamic Dudes, where they were skateboarders that didn't ride the skateboards to the ring.
Okay, yeah. Okay, now I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
It was kind of funny, but and I'll be honest with you, when I first seen Shane Douglas, I was like, okay, this is a young guy, got a good look. You know what I'm saying? He's got, halfway decent build. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty athletic in the ring and everything. He had a real good belly to belly suplex, like catching somebody off of an Irish whip. Them coming off the ropes, him grabbing them, and then, doing the belly to belly. He had a really good one at the time and everything. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of keeping an eye on him and everything. I'm not saying he's like a favorite, but he's like, I could see myself getting behind this guy.
Yeah.
If pushed right and everything. Well, then he ended up, I don't know if he left or if he can't, just they took him off TV for a while and then brought him back or what. But I remember he was gone for a little bit and then he came back as a singles guy. But when he came back as a singles guy, him and Ricky Steamboat, when Ricky Steamboat came back to WCW, they won the tag team titles together, which always seemed like an odd pairing to me. But like WCW and the NWA was known for like those odd pairing, tag team champions a lot more than WWE was and stuff. But so I seen him then, and I was like, okay, he seems like he's gotten even better, blah blah blah. Well, then he went over to WWE and did the whole Dean Douglas thing, and that was terrible.
Yeah. Oh yes.
And his big claim to fame is that he beat Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental title, even though he never actually pinned Shawn Michaels because Shawn Michaels just forfeited the title to him and handed it to him and got out of the ring because that's how much Shawn Michaels was refusing to lose to him. So I was like, and I heard that, and, I'm kind of torn on Shane Douglas. Like, I've always kind of been like a personal fan, I'm not going to say like I was like a huge fan, like a Hulk Hogan type fan.
Yeah.
I ain't got like, franchise Shane Douglas merch all in my house or anything like that. You won't find a shirt in my wardrobe. But like, I was a casual fan. But like, the more I looked at him, the more I was like, he kind of fell off the more famous he got. You know what I'm saying? And other than the ECW throwing the Eastern Championship Wrestling belt or whichever belt it was in the trash, and declaring it the Extreme Championship Wrestling, world title, other than that, I can't think of anything significant that he's ever done except for promos where he's just trashing people.
Yeah. Wasn't he a horseman at one point or something too?
I don't think so. And if he was, God help that. That would have been, I don't think he was.
Okay.
I know he had that one group. I can't remember the name of them. It was at the end of WCW, so it wasn't really relevant because everybody was in a faction at that time. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know about Hall of Fame status. I think he's one of those guys that's like, I'll use an example, which I don't agree with because I'm a huge Boston Celtic fan, but Cedric Maxwell, Cornbread Maxwell. He just got into the Hall of Fame this year in the NBA. He was a former Finals MVP, and this is whenever Larry Bird was on the team. And he won Finals MVP over Larry Bird. So he was a great player. I hated whenever the Celtics got rid of him. He was like one of the most overlooked power forwards, I think, as far as like he was kind of to me like the Draymond Green of the 80s. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really get all the credit or anything, but he was just
does all the dirty work type shit.
Yes, damn good player. Cornbread Maxwell was great. So he finally got into the Basketball Hall of Fame this year, but it wasn't for lack of trying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There were petitions signed, and for whatever reason, he wasn't put on there. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was political or anything like that, but he finally made it in. I see Shane Douglas as the same kind of guy. I don't think he's like first ballot. I don't even know if he's second ballot. But, you know, you start getting into third ballot and fourth ballot because I'm sorry, there's just, I can see so many more people that are deserving of a Hall of Fame, placement than Shane Douglas at this time. And that's no slight to Shane Douglas. Like, again, personally, I'm a fan. But, you know, as far as that goes, and as far as the scale of 1 to 10 relevancy, man, I'd go like a 4 or a 5. I just don't think he was that relevant.
Yeah.
He could have been.
Like it's all kind of what I was saying when it comes to context or whatever. It's like if you're talking about like ECW, then that's where we really know him. But if you're talking about any of the other promotions, you don't really know much about him and shit. So It's kind of like I said. I mean, no, he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean.
Not right now.
I don't know. He's like, if you count ECW, so like he's been a world champ. I'm pretty sure he's been a tag team. I think he's had some other belts before.
Yeah, he's been a tag team champ. He's been an Intercontinental champion. He's been an ECW champion. I'm not sure what all titles in ECW he's held. He could be a Grand Slam champion in ECW because they didn't have but like 3.
What about any of the other promotions like TNA or AEW or anything like that?
I don't think he's ever been in AEW. TNA, I don't know if he's ever been in TNA or won anything in TNA.
What about Japan?
I think he's done some work in Japan. What titles he's held, I'm not 100% sure without looking it up and everything. I mean, I would say he was a big enough name to eventually, get himself a Hall of Fame seat. But like I said, I just think that there's more people that could.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and I'm not trying to be mean, and it's nothing against Shane Douglas, but I think Shane McMahon deserves to go into the Hall of Fame before Shane Douglas. I think Shane McMahon was more relevant.
Oh, hell yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, it's just little things like Axe and Smash, Demolition.
Yeah.
I know that they have a falling out and everybody's petitioning. Marty Jannetty. As a matter of fact, there is a petition out online by Marty Jannetty's wife, Miss Addie Jannetty. Please go sign that petition. It is to get Marty Jannetty into the Hall of Fame. Let's get him in the Hall of Fame where we can still hear a Marty Jannetty speech at the Hall of Fame ceremony and not hear somebody have to speak on his behalf. And I'm not saying anything bad, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I hate seeing that. I hate seeing, all these Hall of Famers waiting around to put them in the Hall of Fame to where they're already gone. Again, going back to giving them their flowers.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Let's give it to them while they're here. I mean, there's still certain ways that you can bring in these legends and have big nostalgic moments with these legends and not have to put them in the ring to have that moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And saying that, I'm going to segue into the next story I've got. Because we've talked about this till we're blue in the face on the show, but here comes the report.
No.
Right. Dun, 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 dun. Breaking news. It says there have been internal discussions in WWE about Stone Cold Steve Austin making a return appearance in the very near future.
For what?
In
what context?
From what, if this is true, and what I saw a couple of weeks ago that I was going to bring up, I was actually going to bring up on the recap show last week, but we didn't get to do it because I was not feeling very well. There is talk, and I'm kind of torn. And the reason I'm torn is on name and nostalgia alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because the realization is I don't want to see it. Not today. Not in 2026. But the rumor going around is there is a possibility of a retirement match at this year's WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia.
Shocking.
No, this year in Saudi Arabia, is it? Is this year Saudi Arabia? No. This year is Vegas.
Yeah.
Next year Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
It's this year in Vegas because he wants, American fans to be able to come and see. But there is talk that this year it's going to be Stone Cold versus The Rock.
Wow.
In The Rock's retirement match.
He don't need one. He's already been gone forever.
Like, I figured he retired like 10 years ago when he stopped showing up to work.
I know. What do you mean?
That's like going to work at Hardee's, hiring somebody. They work for 2 months. They stop coming to work. You see them at Ace Hardware a week later, and then like 3 years later, you go into work one day and they're like, hey, yeah, we brought Billy back for one last shift so that he could retire.
I know. Like, what the fuck? No, don't do this. I mean, I don't want, like I said, I don't want to see this. I mean, I love The Rock. I love Stone Cold. Let's keep it good memories and shit. They're out of shape. They're not going to be able to, go like before. At least probably Stone Cold is. Like,
and that's what I'm saying. The nostalgia of it in my mind. If I'm seeing, Stone Cold and The Rock from 30 years ago, give me that all day long. But the reality of it is it's going to be 2026 Stone Cold and 2026 Rock, and I don't want to see that.
Man, this is like watching Jordan in his prime and then watching Jordan with the Wizards, number 45. Come on, bro. Let's not do this. Let's not take this like that and shit. Like, let's keep the good memories. We don't need this. Like, we're not Saudi Arabia. Now, like, I could see, like, if they needed the money and shit, which, like, if you go do this in Saudi Arabia for, Crown Jewel or some shit that they asked for, cool, man. But like, if you're talking about Stone Cold, see, because I thought when you were starting to talk about this, you were talking about Stone Cold coming back maybe as a commissioner, maybe not wrestling anymore, but maybe just, as a commissioner or something like that. But no, I do not want to see him and The Rock go at it at all.
That's what they're talking, man. They are talking it.
Well, somebody needs to tell them to shut up, okay? I said shut up. We don't want this shit.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. It just, like you said, I get it. I understand why the Saudis want all these older stars to come back,
Yeah.
because they're just now starting to get the WWE in their country. And for years, they watched the Attitude Era stuff,
Yeah.
on YouTube and stuff like that. And they've just become huge fans of it. And like, it's the nostalgia for them too. It's they're not placing the fact that this is Stone Cold 30 years after what they saw on YouTube.
Yeah.
They're just placing the fact that that's Stone Cold.
Exactly.
Look at one of the worst matches of all time. And it's crazy that you would ever say that Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker were a part of two of the greatest matches of all time at WrestleMania. And then they went over to Saudi Arabia and had a tag team match, which should have been a cakewalk for all four of those guys.
Yeah.
And it was one of the worst matches all four of those guys ever did. And they all say it was terrible.
And why was that?
Because they were too old for it. And that's
exactly what they said. Exactly.
They admitted it. It was done. We were done. And we just didn't want to, admit we were done.
Shit. I'm gonna say it like this. Everything has a expiration date.
It does.
Everything.
Man, I just turned 48 and my knees expired at like 33, so
exactly.
Yeah.
So no. I mean, I get it wanting to, but it's not going to be what you think it is and shit. Like I said, unfortunately that time has passed.
Right.
And you cannot go back and and like get a magic moment. Like, it's not gonna happen.
When you say
in a moment, it's gonna be something bad. It's gonna be like, oh damn, I did twist or broke something and now I'm fucked.
When you say Stone Cold versus The Rock, I mean, at least for me, and maybe it's just where it's because, that was my time era of watching wrestling. But when I say Stone Cold versus Rock, my mind goes back to that. And that's what I see is that young Stone Cold and Rock. And when you say it, it's like, damn, that was a good match. Damn, I'd love to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say, oh, well, that's happening at WrestleMania, I'm like, damn, they're too old for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as much as I would love to see it again, it's just not possible. I mean, even though it is possible, it shouldn't be possible.
And I don't think they need the money, honestly. Like I said, I know The Rock, sure as hell does not need this money.
Right. He's sitting on like $800 million.
Yeah. And I really doubt Stone Cold does too. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a nice little payday, but like, he don't need it.
No.
Like, none of them need it.
Not in his lifetime. No. All right, next story here. Let's see. I keep wanting to reach up and click onto the next picture and everything, and there's no pictures to click on. This stupid thing's not working right. Okay, so in breaking news, the TKO board members have initially I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Internally discussed the idea of, speaking of comebacks, bringing Vince McMahon back to the company. Somebody was quoted as saying, I went to Vince's house myself where he told me he was open to coming back, saying, shit's got to change, pal. What do you think about Vince coming back?
To WWE or to another promotion?
To WWE.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I'm not saying a shakeup wouldn't be nice, but is Vince's presence going to take away from wrestling is probably the biggest thing. Is all his legal problem, his baggage, that come with him going to be more of a storyline than the wrestling itself.
Well,
And I don't
to,
know if that's possible.
to go off what you're saying there, would TKO take that chance on bringing him back if they hadn't already had their own lawyers look into everything and say, nothing's going to come of this? It's safe to bring him back, even before the verdict is in. You see what I'm saying?
But don't he have a couple different suits going on? Like it ain't just one.
I mean, yeah, but you telling me TKO ain't got the money to pay a couple lawyers to look into it and say, hey, is there any substance to this?
I don't know. Like I said, but then there's also fan perception. Just because
Right.
I mean, because we know they obviously don't have an issue paying people off. That's never been a problem, and some of this might be about money, and some of it might be about justice, or getting fair dues or whatever it is. I don't know, but of course, money is usually always involved. Does it make it better, like if you pay somebody off, or if they are like, if it's silently dealt with, whether it's publicly dealt with? It still happened. And honestly, it's going to be more women that are going to have an issue with it probably than men. So I think they're going to take. Are you going to lose more female viewers, or are you going to lose some of that demographic?
Right.
Because of the scandal, because of all the baggage that comes with it.
I think Vince coming back could be a good thing as long as great as Vince was. Vince, when it was time to be cartoon characters, Vince was great at doing that, at creating cartoon characters. You had the sailor guy in Tugboat,
Yeah.
You had the big earthquake guy, blah, blah, blah. You had the big, the American heroes with, Hogan and Duggan and, Sergeant Slaughter and stuff and everything. You had you had the characters. The Undertaker, when he first started, was a character, just a dead zombie guy that, embalms people's bodies and puts them in body bags. That shit was kind of fucked up, But it was something we had never seen before. It was a character. Everybody had a character, We had somebody that was a barber, guys. For all you youngsters and everything, we had a guy that would cut your hair for free after a match. But where was I going with that? For all the good that Vince did, like I said, when it was time to be the characters, he knew how to do it. When it was time to adjust out of that and into the new the new younger generation, Shawn Michaels and Brett, when he put the company on their shoulders and said, we're going to lean on the, littler guys and the more athletic guys and stuff like that. Let them lead the company. Right call, because that bled into the Stone Colds and the Rocks and the stuff like that. And there were the Triple H's, which bled into when it was time to adjust for the Attitude Era. He did that, and he busted ass on that because of the fact that I don't think that Vince was ever in, even though he was, I don't think Vince was ever in competition with anybody else in his mind. It was just, I'm going to go out there and do what I can do. And if it wins, it wins. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to control what I can control. And this is my company. I'm going to control it. So this is how we're going to adjust. You know what I'm saying? And when it was time to adjust, he adjusted. But like we've discussed, in that last 4 or 5 years, especially of Vince's reign in the WWE,
Mhm.
man, it was getting hard to watch again. It was getting real hard to watch because it was just a little too PG. You know what I mean? And I get it, like we've discussed, it's a multi-billion-dollar traded company on Wall Street. So you've got shareholders and all that stuff and everything that you got to make sure they're not mad. Are shareholders for Disney gonna be happy if Disney starts making explicit films? Probably not. But at the end of the day, you gotta play to the shareholders.
You got to play, yeah. You got to pacify them because, well, no, you got to play to the families and shit, and because they are the ones that are spending the money, they are the ones who are
Right.
going to, get their kids the T-shirts or the action figures and all that shit, and that's where the money comes from, and they're gonna, they drive that shit. So, like, if you piss the parents off by making it something that they don't think is approvable, then they're not gonna let their kids watch, which means all that money goes out the drain. So, and then that's going to make the shareholders mad. So that's what, to me, it comes more down to. I think the best way, if Vince was going to come back, he'd have to be behind the scenes. You couldn't put him on TV. He couldn't be shown. It would have to be strictly as like a creative person, like running stuff behind the scenes, not, like you don't see Vince at all.
And
then
don't give him final say in anything.
I don't know about the final say. I mean, that part doesn't bug me as much because I think he still kind of knows what he's doing. But if you think if you think Triple H is doing a great job, then let him have the final say and shit. But knowing Vince, he's never had to answer to anybody, so I don't know if he can do that.
Right. I was getting ready to say too.
Yeah.
I wonder. I was going to say have like a committee.
Yeah,
like a 3-man committee between Triple H, Vince, and Nick Khan. That way, 2 out of 3 can veto 1.
Yeah, but like I said, Vince has always been the final say. Right. And you think he's eventually gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna give up this because,
pal.
Yeah, I mean, like he's probably a control freak. I mean, to run a company, yes, $1 billion company, I think you kind of have to be kind of a control freak when it comes to details and the way everything runs and shit. And I don't think Vince is just going to be okay with being overruled and shit.
Right. Well, especially if it happens a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If his ideas aren't getting out there at all, that's going to be an issue.
But I think what makes Vince a good promoter or businessman is he's smart enough to know that even if he doesn't like an idea, he's going to do what's best for business. So if something's getting over that might have not been his idea or that he didn't like it first, he's still going to roll with it and put whatever behind it because it's best for business. Yep. So the final say will come down. Whatever is best for business, Vince would go with. But it had to be that. Like, that's the only way Vince is going to be okay with the situation is if, it works with the fans. He's going to be like, all right, that worked. That was good. I can't bitch about that. I can't complain.
I just think I think it could be a good thing. But at the end of the day, like you said, is it going to be an issue if Vince isn't actually in charge? Like, what does that look like with Triple H in charge? You see what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like it's one of those things as a parent, like when you raise kids and your kids leave and then they have to come back and live with you, but they've been on their own and been used to being grown and doing things a certain way. And now they're like, well, no, this is the way we do it here. And they're like, right. No, this is the way I do it here. And it's like, I don't know if those ideas are going to work.
Right. because yeah, I 100% agree because it's you have to. I don't know.
You can only have one chief, and everybody else, the rest has to be Indians. You can't have too many chiefs and like not enough Indians.
100%
It just don't work.
because too what is the saying? Too many chiefs, not enough tribes.
Yeah, or
That's
not enough Indians, whatever you want to call it.
and that's it. You know, you can't. I don't know. I would love to see it come. I'd love to see him come back and it work. Will it work? I don't know. I really don't know. You know what I mean? It could, because Vince and uh, Triple H have worked together before, so it's not like out of the realm of possibilities that they could actually work together.
Yeah,
But is the ego, like you said, going to come into play and stop them from being able to
exactly.
do it? That could be
That's where it lies at.
That could definitely be the biggest determining factor. Most definitely. Let's see here. What else do I got on? I hate not having these be able to pull up on the screen. So I don't know if you know who Conrad Thompson is.
Conrad Thompson.
He does a few podcasts with like Jeff Jarrett. He does one with JR. He does a few. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say that people have said that he is Ric Flair's son-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Not married to Charlotte, of course. But like, and that he owns and tracked down the original gold belt, big gold belt, Ric Flair's original big gold belt.
Yeah.
But he came out and tweeted the other day. He said, here's the quiet part out loud. TNA is a developmental league for WWE. Ask Hendry, ask Grace, etc. Let's see. TNA allowed Slater to go because it's their model now. Did you see AJ on TNA last night? They're not adversarial. TNA is the new OVW, but on AMC.
Damn. I mean, that's almost like fighting words.
I agree. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's fighting words, but I mean, I think everybody kind of already knew this. It was like he said, it's the quiet part out loud.
It's a developmental league for the WWE. That's like saying you're my bitch. That's what I hear almost. It's like, hey, y'all are my bitch.
Well, Joe Hendry, what happened? Big TNA star. Oh, contract's up. Where's he signed? Where was he making appearances at besides TNA?
True.
You see what I'm saying? I
thought he was an NXT guy, honestly. Like, he really was a TNA guy?
Yeah, he was 100% a TNA
wow.
guy.
Like, I thought this whole time he was a damn like NXT star. I did not know that. Well, hell, I learned something new today.
Yeah. So and see, that's the thing is like, why? Like I said, when WWE started working with TNA, and then WWE bought AAA, I was like, something's up here. And then all of a sudden, TNA gets their weekly show deal on AMC, which, by the way, I watched, and I completely forgot about the debut of it on the 15th, so I missed that episode. And I forgot to watch last week. I got an alarm set. But I said I hit the last little part of it and everything. Wasn't that bad? It's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
like I said, if you need an alternative because you're sick and tired of paying all these fees to WWE, which I'm sure somehow, some way WWE is getting some of that money because I'm sure they helped them get that TV deal for AMC. But whatever, TNA's got a TV deal. It's an alternative. As long as they don't go underneath WWE management, I'm happy. They can associate with whoever they want to, as long as they don't, as long as they remain their own thing. That's the key to it, guys. Remain your own thing. You can associate with who you want to. At that point, just remain your own thing. But I kind of agree with the guy because I've said for months that I think eventually TNA's getting bought out by the WWE.
I can see that happening, but to be like they're basically like developmental, just I don't know. It sounds kind of a little disrespectful.
I agree, but it's like, is it is WWE pushing NXT as more of a main brand now?
It could
And
honestly, like it could stand. I mean, obviously, they can stand alone, and they have a lot of fan and a lot of support. So I wouldn't be opposed to it.
for anybody that's watching, please, in the comments, can you please let me know, because I've been trying to figure this out. What in the absolute hell does NXT stand for? We know WWE stands for World Wrestling Entertainment. We knew AWA stood for American Wrestling Association, NWA, National Wrestling Association. What does NXT actually stand for? If anybody knows, Uncle Slam's going to look it up for us. But yeah, I think they're looking at NXT as more of a main brand now. And
all right, it says NXT stands for next, representing the next generation of wrestling superstars.
I don't like that. I
I
need
get it.
I need it to stand for something. Like TNA stands for Total Nonstop Action.
You can't be the alphabet police. It doesn't matter. It doesn't always have to be.
It does. It can't stand for it.
No. That's that old school mind.
Texting world and everything, shortening
you got to
everything.
be hip. You got to be new. You can't be 1980 all the time.
Man, the only thing I know about a hip is the one that's going out. Okay. Oh man, but yeah, I do think that I think it's being pushed off as a developmental league, but I guess we'll have to sit back and watch and see what happens. Like I said, I think they're going to try to buy them out, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. So here's another report, man, and this is funny because I joked around about this a while back. I don't remember if I did it on air or just as a joke between us in a text, but breaking news: Elon Musk is reportedly being strongly rumored as a potential buyer for WWE from TKO. With discussions said to be in extremely early stages, WWE's current valuation sits at around $9.3 billion, and the speculation suggests Musk sees the company as a powerful global entertainment brand with massive live event reach and long-term media value. While nothing has been confirmed, and this remains purely rumored for now, the possibility has already sparked major conversations across the wrestling and business worlds. Fans are especially buzzing about what a partnership or merger between Musk's platform X and WWE could look like. Imagining a new era of digital integration, global exposure, and groundbreaking crossover opportunities. What's your thoughts?
Well, obviously he's got the money to buy it, and probably in his back pocket, to be honest.
Right.
So
what is it? 9.3 billion. I mean, what he buy? He bought a Twitter for what, 43 billion or something like that.
Yeah. So obviously, cash is not the problem here. Does he know anything about the wrestling business? And are we talking about just buying WWE, or is he buying the UFC also? Like, is he buying the whole TKO company?
I don't think TKO would ever get rid of UFC, if you want me to be honest
so?
with you, because, okay, so this is what I noticed, man. And I'm going to be honest with you. This is why I think TKO is ruining the WWE's brand of wrestling. They're trying to turn it too much into a UFC fight. And like, I was watching Raw the other night, and it felt like I was watching. You remember those old whether it be a variety show, you remember those, like Hee Haw and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Where it would cut away and then it would cut to something else, and there'd just be two people standing there with a microphone or something, and they'd be, they'd have a little back and forth banter and everything, and then boom, something would happen, ha 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 laugh or whatever.
Mm.
So I was sitting there watching it. There was like some backstage thing. Next thing I know, it cuts, and there's Rhea Ripley and the girl she's with all the time now, Io Sky.
Yeah.
Standing in the ring.
Io or something.
And they're just standing there, and they're doing like this variety show type spiel. And then, okay, well, they get interrupted. We're going to go back to the wrestling thing of we're going to interrupt you with some music and somebody's going to come down to the ring type stuff. But it was just like, man, I don't feel like I'm watching wrestling anymore. I feel like I'm watching a variety show. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like wrestling. It feels like, okay, cut scene now, go to the ring, and there's two people just standing in the ring. And they're going to, you know what I'm saying, cut a promo real quick, blah, blah, blah. Instead of the buildup of why are these people coming to the ring? You know what I'm saying? Why is it that every time somebody comes to the ring, they're smiling and waving? And why isn't anybody ever just pissed? You know what I'm saying?
A babyface ain't going to come out pissed most of the time. That's usually what a heel's going to be.
Right. But then I was watching it too, and like, when they done the introductions, I can't remember who it was, but the first person came out. They stood in the ring.
Was Io?
Well, no, I'm not talking about the match. I'm talking about just it may have been, I can't remember whose match it was, but it was an actual match that this was going on in. But the first person came out, was standing in the ring. Second person came out, was standing in the other corner. Next thing you know, the ring announcer starts announcing who's there and who's in the match.
Uh-huh.
Same way that like UFC does it. The old way of wrestling is, think about it, while they're coming down to the ring and the music's playing and making his way to the ring, weighing in at blah, 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 hailing from blah, 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 the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and then that music kept going. You finished watching them come down to the ring, do their entrance, boom. Next music hits, and while that person's coming down to the ring announcer announces. To me, it's drawing out these entrances way too long. In UFC, you do that. You know what I'm saying? Because the match is 3 rounds?
Yeah, 5 minutes each.
Right. So 3 rounds, 5 minutes each. You got 15 minutes for each match, roughly, if it goes the full distance. You see what I'm saying? To me, this is adding more time, which is also cutting down time you could be having another match. So, I mean, I don't know if Elon knows much about the wrestling business, but I hope he's smart enough to know enough about business to step aside and let wrestling people handle the wrestling and not try to change it into the UFC.
See, I don't really think Twitter is really going to affect much of anything when it comes to as far as social media, because everybody's pretty social media savvy anyway, and Twitter is a huge or X is a huge platform, but there are also a lot of other platforms as far as Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want to use, Snapchat, TikTok. So now, as far as maybe bringing in some new, like new technology, that might be interesting. I don't know what he would be able to bring as far as a new idea, because he doesn't seem to be the wrestling type. Honestly, I thought when you were talking about it, he was just going to make an appearance at like WrestleMania or some shit, not like actually by the company. So I don't know. Like I don't know what he knows about running the wrestling business. Now,
It's such weird territory to be in to say that like Vince McMahon is not an owner of the WWE, and like, do these people know how to run this? You know what I'm saying? Because Vince is given the model of how to run it, but the people who think they know more have come in. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
And it's like, it's weird to be asking the question, do these people know how to run? Would we have been asking the same question if, say, Vince had this plays into we're going to start doing segments on this show and stuff, guys, and everything. Eventually, we're working it out and everything, and one of the segments we're going to do is kind of like a what if type segment, an alternate universe type thing. But this kind of plays into that. What if Vince hadn't bought WCW? What if somebody else had bought it? Would we be asking back then, well, do these people know how to run a wrestling company? You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of the same thing. It's just fast forwarded, 30 years roughly. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that there's anybody that's ever going to be able to run a wrestling company for all his good and all his bad the way that Vince did. Vince made a whole hell of a lot of money for a long time using the old business model of the guaranteed X amount of dates for X amount of money. Now, what you do can make you more money or less money. You see what I'm saying? Before the guaranteed contracts and stuff like that, that was kind of the business model. You had 12 dates a year at, $2,000 a date. You know what I'm saying? That's not a guarantee. But if you get over in those 12 dates, well, Vince is going to book you more. And if he books you more, then he's going to pay, he's got to pay you. So it was like, it was kind of a crazy model to use, but, it worked for a long time, and he made a lot of money using that model before he had to start guaranteeing any contracts.
No.
So, I mean, I just don't know if anybody's ever going to be able to run it. And I think we're going to run into this question a whole lot, especially if ownership of this company starts jumping around a whole lot. I think that's going to be the biggest key. Excuse me. I apologize. My nose is going crazy. 1 minute it won't stop leaking. Next minute I can't breathe. So on to the next story. Let's see. Jim Cornette. I love Jim Cornette. He has come out and said that there is just a championship overload in wrestling. Period. Yes. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? Man, good to see you here. But he said everybody's got a belt. Jim Cornette Blast Wrestling's championship overload. I kind of agree with him, man. I think there's just too much. Like, you think about it. I mean, it's not classified as a world title yet, the NXT championship, but it's basically looked at as a world title. So it's like you've got 3 world titles in WWE, basically.
Yeah, but they're all different organizations
that go on to each other's shows constantly. You see what I'm saying?
But they're still separate entities. Like, whether you can cross over to the other or not, they're still technically separate.
Who's the real champion?
Well, then that means you'd have to unify everything and put everybody, and then that would just squash, because then you got too many people and not enough TV time. That's why you had to have 2 separate organizations, or 3.
And that's why I hate it. I think it's championship overload, because not only that, you got 3 middleweight titles, Intercontinental, US, and then North American. And then you got 3 tag team champions.
Well, is that a speaking of growth issue? Like, WWE is too big?
Yes.
So
like
are you saying that they need to?
I think that speaks into what they were, that article that we were talking about is that they've developed too much talent and signed too much talent and don't have enough TV time for it. I think that's why they said that we are.
You just said that. Yeah, but like, didn't you just say that they should cut back? That they have too much. That, like, we should get rid of some of these promotions, like, maybe get rid of SmackDown and then get rid of NXT. But then you still got one show, but you got a million people, and all these people ain't going to go anywhere.
No. I'm not saying cut back on the shows. Cut back on the championships. Come out on the championships. Yeah, I mean, you don't need.
Well, then what is there to fight for? I mean, people ain't just going to fight for no reason. I mean, that's not really motivation. You know what I'm saying?
The rankings.
What about the rankings? Like, nobody cares about the rankings. Like I said, belt's what people care about. Like, you need something shiny to show. Being like, I'm the number 1 contender doesn't mean anything. I mean that's just like being like Money in the Bank winner. If you don't have a briefcase, who knows?
Shout out to Uncle Slam's old lady for tuning in. What's up, Jen?
Much love, much love.
But I mean, I'm so on the fence about it, because, like, on one hand, I see what you're saying, but on the other hand, it's like, I don't know. I just think it's too much. There's too many titles going around. Everybody's got a championship. You could fill an entire pay-per-view with nothing but championship matches.
Yeah.
And even the titles that I was talking about, I hadn't even hit on the women's championships.
Mm-hmm.
If you go that route, there's 5 world championships, 5 middleweights, 4 tag team championships. It's just, to me, it's just way too much, because if you fill up, to me, the problem is that if everybody has a championship, then it kind of makes the matches where people don't irrelevant.
But not everybody has a championship. Like, it's just each organization has you have your world champ, you have your secondary championship, which is going to be either the U.S. or the Intercontinental. Then
So
you have
there's
your,
two segments you have to take up on a show.
so and like then you have your tag team champions.
There's three.
You know, okay, and then you got your women's championship,
There's four.
and then if you go and then you got the women's tag team champ,
There's five.
and they just created the Intercontinental and the like United States for the women's or whatever. So there's your secondary women's champion. Now I wasn't really in favor of the secondary champ for the women because I just don't. At first, I really didn't think it was necessary.
So that's 6 segments.
Yeah.
So my question is how many segments does a champion or a Raw show usually run?
I don't know. It's in a 2 hour, 2 hour time frame.
In a 2 hour time frame, how many segments are in? I can't look it up. I got my phone on doing this thing. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, but they don't always do every one
How
because
many segments does a Raw episode run? Right, and they're not. That's the thing. It's not always being
promoted.
right. It says while the exact number of segments can vary weekly, a typical 3 hour episode of Raw generally features 5 to 6 matches, significant talk segments and promos, backstage segments and video packages, key details in segment structures. Of course, we know all that stuff. So you're saying roughly 5 to 6 matches. So that's 5 to 6 championships if you feature each match in a championship. If you don't, then you still got to feature them backstage and keep the story rolling.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have just a filler match with 2 people who aren't champions, who cares?
Well, that's pretty much the way it works.
I think as far as championships go, I feel the less is more is the route to go.
I don't think everybody. I don't see the only way I see that there's too many belts is in the women's division. I just don't think that you need the United States and the Intercontinental. As far as the men, I don't have a problem with because you have so much talent that you have to give them something to fight for. And the only way you're going to do less and more would be if you got rid of the Intercontinental, get rid of or the U.S. Or are you going to get rid of one of the world championships?
Yeah. I say unify. To me, this is how you do it. If you got to have it this way, you stop this whole brand split crap. You bring back a rating system, a top 10 rating system, so that it actually means a little something for the wins and losses, because they show the wins and losses on TV. You see what I'm saying? So it's if you're going to show the wins and losses, then the wins and losses got to mean something for the people who aren't a champion. So you bring back a rating system, unify the world title, unify the U.S. and the Intercontinental, because I frankly do not care about the United States Championship because it's been devalued so much it's not funny. I don't even think about it anymore, to be honest with you. So you just unify it into the Intercontinental Championship, unify your tag team champions. Now that only leaves you with 3 championships as far as the men's division.
Yep.
So you bring back something like a world television type championship that
doesn't make sense. If you're going to get rid of the whole point was to unify, why are you bringing another title back? The The whole point is less and more. Like that defeats the purpose of unifying the United States and the Intercontinental. That only makes sense.
You're getting rid of 3 titles and only bringing back 1.
You just said to unify one. Why would you
it's still a loss of 2 titles.
I see. You lost me there. Like, okay, you had me when you were like, we're unifying all the titles and just having 3. But if you're going to bring another one back, then there's no point in unifying them. Then I mean, like, what's the point? Like, because
the reason I say that is because, like, I do agree that the roster is way too big to only have 3 titles.
Yes.
But if you get rid of 2 world champions and just make it a clear-cut world champion, get rid of these 2 mid-card titles and have a clear-cut mid-card champion.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of these 2 tag team things.
Mm-hmm.
And make a clear-cut tag team champion. Have that top 10 list that brings your records into it, so the win-losses matter. And then, the more you win, the more you move up, the more you lose, the more you fall. Now, of course, we know it's going to be storyline based, but you can still keep up with who won, who lost. But you bring in that World Television type championship. Doesn't have to be called the World Television Championship, but that's your every week defended on SmackDown and Raw championship.
Yeah, but you just said like you're getting rid of both promotions, so it's going to be one promotion,
right? You're going to unify. But that way you don't always have to feature one of your bigger titles in the main event. You see what I'm saying?
I'm just saying. I just feel like it's going to be too bloated. Like you're going to have a huge wrestling organization. You're only going to have 4 titles basically, and you're going to have basically
4 titles for the men.
3 wrestling organizations in one, and
you'd have
7. You're not going to have enough TV time for all these people. Like they're going to go someplace else. People are not going to stick around and play second fiddle. Like the whole point of being in wrestling is like you want to be number one. You want to be on TV, and if you're going to kind of do it the way you're going to do it, then there's just not going to be enough TV time. They're going to go to AEW. They're going to go to TNA or something.
Good.
That's going to take your top talent away and stuff. That means that's going to make your other opposition better.
Good.
Which means it's going to take away from you.
Good.
Which means you can lose and, not be there anymore.
That's the chance you take in business. But at the end of the day, that's been the WWE's problem, is they've hoarded so many people that they don't have anything to do with them, and now they're just paying contracts to be paying contracts.
See, the only flaw with your thing, well, not the only flaw, but the big flaw is like by having 2 different brands, it's the same thing they're doing now, is they're maximizing their profits by having different organization, different people and stuff. Like if you got one company instead of 2 companies, you're not going to make as much money as if you got 2 separate ones or whatever. Because somebody might be like, well, I don't like this one. I like this one. I don't get to watch this one, but I watch this one. So like, this is the one I follow and stuff. It's the same reason why they split up and put NXT on one channel. It's the same reason why they put Raw on one station. The same reason why they put SmackDown on another channel. You're spreading out your assets to maximize money. And when money's involved, they're not going to cut back or put together. They're going to spread out to take as much as they can. That's the only.
I agree.
That's the big flaw with your thing, is because they're trying to maximize, right? And especially when you got a corporate like TKO in it. Right. TKO is all about the bottom line and shit. They don't even.
I'm talking from a fan's perspective. From what a fan needs to do, from what I feel like needs to happen to make a better product. From a fan,
I think there needs to be some changes. I don't know if I would go along with all those changes. Like I said, I definitely think the women say they have too many belts. Men, I don't know. Like I said, I think something needs to be done. I'm not exactly sure on what. Like most things, when it comes to, um, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, there's so many moving parts to wrestling, so I'm not even really sure, honestly, like what would fix it. To be honest,
It's almost like WWE has gotten too big. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like they have to keep adding this and that. They have to keep adding. I mean, but see, and that's another thing people forget is that's not the only championships they've got. They've also got the Speed Championship. You know what I'm saying? For a
yeah.
while, that 24/7 championship was floating around, which, they were garbage. That nobody cares about those speed
But
championships.
see, they're trying something new. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't stay in the same old thought pattern. That's what gets you died out. That's what gets you past. So they're trying something new. I
It's
mean,
true.
I don't fault them for that. I think it was a valiant attempt. It didn't work out. Okay, get rid of it and move on to something else, or focus on something else that is going to be more profitable, or that fans will like. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because things come and go. We had the hardcore, we had the cruiserweight belt, so all these different belts. I mean, they had their time and they went and came and stuff. So
My
I'm not.
biggest thing is like back in the day, and yes, I'm going to go back in the day. We always wondered, you know, who who was the better champion? Hogan, Flair, Nick Bockwinkel. You know what I'm saying? All these people that kind of represented the organization that they were in. There was always these kind of fantasy matchups in your head because these were the main guys in these places. There was no other championship. To me, wrestling has lost a little bit of that because of the fact that, well, it's like, how do I put this into words? They have, how do I say this? CM Punk doesn't care well, I mean, I know Cody's not the champion anymore, but CM Punk doesn't care if Cody's the champion over there. I'm the champion over here. Back in the day, it was, I want to beat him because he's that champion over there. You see what I'm saying? Now it's almost like complacency that, okay, I've got one of the belts, so I'm good.
Well, if the belts are like equal, then why does it matter and stuff? And if it's supposed to be two different divisions or branches or like organization, if I'm a champ in this, I'm just as great as the champ over here.
But see, I don't look at those titles as equal. I mean, and that's just me. I'm not saying that anybody else has got to agree or disagree, but I don't look at those titles as equal. I don't think they get pushed as equal. I don't see CM Punk all over every advertisement. I see Cody Rhodes all over every advertisement.
Is it because he's more marketable than
I
CM Punk?
mean, that may be it, but is that why he's got the company championship and not the secondary world championship?
It could be. Like I said, maybe he looks better on video games and T-shirts than CM Punk with all his tattoos and his bandaged hands and stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, you got to look at. I mean, maybe that's what WWE's looking at. Like I know when it comes to selling stuff like that, parents pay attention, and if they see some cookie cutter guy compared to CM Punk, you're gonna be like, well, this guy looks a little more wholesome, like than the other guy does.
Superfly Johnny Lee tuning in. He said Drew being WWE champion was long overdue in front of a live crowd. Talking about Drew McIntyre. What do you think about that?
I don't have a problem with Drew. Like I said, I mean, I think it's you got to have a shakeup every now and then. I was more shocked that it happened at at that than at a bigger pay per view, but I'm okay with it. Like I said, I mean, he deserves it.
I like the shock value of him losing it on SmackDown. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I miss those days, because
See, I was going to say the same thing because they don't like it. Because they don't do that as much anymore. Like you don't see world titles change hand on Raw and SmackDown like they used to.
in the Attitude Era, man, you had to tune in on both shows, Nitro and Raw, because you didn't know what title was changing hands on what night. I mean, look at the Mick Foley thing when they gave away the ending. How many people tuned over into Raw just to see Mick Foley win the world title for the first time? Let's see. Superfly Johnny Lee also said, I think Seth's got a big push coming soon as he's back. We could see Braun and Seth lock horns. I think that could happen just for fighting over the leadership of the Vision.
I think he owes him that. Hell, like look what he did. He speared the man. I think that's the least of what he's going to get.
Right. Let's see. Johnny Lee also said the World Heavyweight Championship may be the secondary championship, but I think Punk's shown he's happier now than he was in 2014. Much happier. I agree with that. But I think it's because I don't think Punk's a guy that wants the whole company on his shoulders. I think he just wants to wrestle. Johnny Lee said Attitude Era didn't have the most wrestling, but it had the most moments that kept you engaged. Very true. Very true. The wrestling, I think that's honestly and truthfully one negative that came from the Attitude Era was the fact that it cut down on the in-ring stuff and started focusing more on the backstage stuff, which is like one of Jim Cornette's biggest contentions with wrestling nowadays is the fact that there's not much, as he says, quote unquote, there's not much wrestling that goes on in wrestling. I don't know. That's his opinion.
Kind of like MTV without the music,
right?
Really getting away from it or whatever.
Music TV with no music, but here's a reality show.
I don't think it's that far yet, but I definitely see what he's talking about. Like, I definitely get it.
Let's see. Superfly Johnny Lee also said, I think AEW made Punk realize he was better with a company that actually cared about business over a company that let the inmates have its way. I mean, I agree with that because I think that's the biggest problem with AEW right now is Tony Khan. You can't let everybody be in charge of their character. That was shown, that model was shown back in the 1990s with WCW. You can't let people give you it doesn't work for me, brother. You can't do it. Not in the wrestling business. There has McMahon showed people there has to be somebody that has the final say. Now, you can do like Stone Cold and walk out. Stone Cold didn't want to put Brock Lesnar over. He walked out of the company. People forget about that a whole lot, But, you can leave. You're an independent contractor. But if you leave, you're also in breach of contract and this, that, and the other. You got to stop and think about things. I mean, at the end of the day, it's, I don't know. I just think AEW needs to get a better structure behind the scenes. If they could get a better structure behind the scenes, they could be the WCW to the WWE right now. I'm not saying they're necessarily going to compete as far as like money making and stuff like that, but as far as TV ratings and as far as storytelling and doing, just good wrestling, yeah, you could compete. You got enough fans right now that are diehard AEW fans that think AEW is the greatest thing that ever happened in pro wrestling in the past 20 years.
Yeah. Their fans are pretty loyal, I would say.
Oh, yeah. So I've got one more story, and then I'm complete out. I don't know if you've got any. But Kurt Angle revealed that back in 2007, Brock Lesnar made a call to Angle, who was one of TNA's biggest stars at the time. Brock asked Angle how much he was making working for TNA. Kurt revealed to Brock what he was making, and Lesnar told Angle if Dixie could match that pay or come close to it, he would sign with the promotion. TNA was definitely interested in Lesnar, but once Kurt went to Dixie with Brock's proposal, the deal was dead in the water. Apparently, TNA did not think Brock was worth that type of money and wanted him to come in on a cheaper deal. That, of course, never happened, and Brock eventually made his way back to the WWE. So, going back to give it a little preview of the what if segment.
True.
What do you think? What do you think about that?
So like basically what you're saying is like, what if Brock had signed with, would you say, AEW and TNA instead of coming back to WWE
in 2007?
Wow, that for them would have been massive. That would have gave them a whole lot of credibility. Would have gave them a huge pop because of who Brock Lesnar is and what he's done before. That would have definitely would have hurt the WWE. I think that I don't think it would have put them down, and I don't think it would have put AEW over the top. I think it would have been one of those things where it would have took some some market space. Like it would have took a little, some shares away. Like it ain't going to boost them up to the number one, but it's going to chip away at like some of their fan base. You know what I'm saying? Yes. They're going to take a little more than the normal. They're going to lose a little bit and shit. So, but I think WWE as a company would have weathered the storm because, like, one thing about them is they're always good at making stars. They're good at finding talent and developing. So even if they wouldn't have had a Lesnar, they would have found somebody who could have filled that role and still kept going on. But yes, that would have been massive. That would have changed, especially for, TNA. Oh my God.
I don't think TNA, again, TNA, I think, had the same problem. I don't know about now. I'm going to have to watch a little bit more, to really get a unbiased opinion or a biased opinion, whichever you want to say. But I think TNA had the same problem that AEW has now. They just don't have enough structure behind the scenes to, really make it work. And they don't want to listen enough to the people who do know how to make it work. There's, tons of wrestling knowledge out there. I don't want to see Kevin Nash on screen.
Yeah.
But could Kevin Nash be an asset as, you don't even have to bring him in as a head writer. Just bring him in as a consultant. Man, these are the stories that we're talking about doing.
Mm.
This is where this story's been heading. This is what we got planned for. Let him look at the storyboards and tell him, man, this is stupid. You know what I'm saying? This is dumb. Change this to this. Why not do this here? This makes more sense. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's something like that, doesn't have to be anything. He doesn't have to be in charge of creative to listen to somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about from this business. Let's see. We got a few more comments here from Superfly. Superfly, we appreciate you being here and commenting, man. Let's see. He said, I read about the Angle story a day or two ago. Brock wanted a damn good deal. Even today, Brock wants bigger money. Plus, he would have been in TNA before Bobby Lashley went on a rampage. Let's see. Check them out on AMC at 9, JMac every Thursday. Yeah, I have been. I forgot about it the first night they were on, but the second night I forgot too. I'm not going to lie. And then I caught them like the last hour, I think it was. But yeah, when I saw it, looked good, good production, good, everything. I didn't have no issues with it. But, guys, I apologize about my sinuses today. I really do. Before we get out of here, I want to hit on the results of the AEW show last week. There was a few. Let's see. I'm going to go over here. I said AEW. The EWA. My bad. I apologize, EWA. They had their New Beginning show, and I'm telling you all, guys, that show was absolutely amazing. Prime 21 is going to be on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2026. Same damn bell time, same damn door time. A few matches have been announced. We'll announce more on those as we go on. But if I could ever get down here to these, I would definitely be willing to share these results with you. I thought it was pretty cool because what's his name? Steel Wool. He kind of surprised me when he turned on Jacob Ratliff. So we got Steel Wool taking on Jacob Ratliff for the EWA Heritage Championship. Steel Wool turned on his friend Jacob Ratliff, and Steel Wool now has his own group called the New Wool Order.
I love it.
I know it was great. It was great. But Steel Wool walked away victorious in that match. Jacob Ratliff, I'm hearing talks that he's retiring. I don't know for sure. I haven't heard the full story on that. But yeah, we will keep you posted as we hear more. But Steel Wool is your new Heritage Championship. Or Heritage Championship. Heritage Champion. Let's see. Who else did we have? Lexi Green defended her title against Brooklyn Ray. Lexi Green once again successfully defended her title. I don't know how long she's held that women's championship, but she's been women's champion as long as we've been going to EWA events. And that's been well over 6 months now. So congratulations to Lexi Green. And big shout out to Lexi Green. We're going to get you on the show sometime soon. But shout out to her for a long championship reign and defending that championship. Cash Out versus the BSB Boys. Cash Atkins and All In Ace Carmichael took on Kenneth Gaines and OG Ugly, and they were victorious over the BSB boys. We had a triple threat match that was announced, and it was changed, and I'm trying to remember who replaced Adrian Alexander in the triple threat match with Gaston and Mike Howard. Do you remember right offhand?
Who? What now? Say that again.
Do you remember who replaced Adrian in the triple threat match with Gaston and Mike Howard? Mike Howard ended up winning. Was it Ethan?
I think so.
I believe Ethan Heyer is the one that replaced him. But Mike Howard ended up walking away with the victory. I believe I'm correct on that, if I'm remembering right. I'm old, guys. I had a birthday recently, so I don't remember things the way I should. And in a big announcement before the show, Tony Corral was not able to compete because he was not medically cleared. So he was not able to challenge Jordan Alexander. Lord, I'm terrible today. Jordan. I can just hear Bobby Blade just chewing me up right now, calling him Jordan Alexander.
Not my best friend.
Right, his best friend in the whole wide world. No, Jordan Cage. Tony Corral did not get to challenge Jordan Cage in the finals of the EWA Championship Tournament. And so because of that, by default, Tony Corral's opponent in the previous round got a bye to the next round, and that was Adrian Alexander, which is why that triple threat match was changed. And Adrian Alexander took on Jordan Cage for the vacant EWA Championship. And Adrian Alexander came out on top, winning the championship, defeating his nemesis, Jordan Cage. After it was a great finish, too. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it because I don't know if it's out yet. But the match had a great finish. If you didn't see it, watch it. It'll be on YouTube, Elite Wrestling Alliance. And if you're in the area or you're going to be in the area on Valentine's Day and you and your sweetheart like to see some, good, wholesome violence on Valentine's
wholesome
Day.
Violence together.
That's right. Come out to EWA's, what is it, Prime 21, I believe it is. Like I said, once it gets a little bit closer to the day and more matches are announced, we will announce a match card. I can say as of right now, believe Adrian is defending the championship against Michael Zodiac. And I have never seen this gentleman before, so this could be interesting. He looks like an interesting character. And Lexi Green is also, we have a return match between Lexi Green and Brooklyn Ray.
Oh, okay.
So Brooklyn Ray has decided she wants to challenge again for Lexi Green's title. We will see how that goes. But yeah, that's all the news I got for this week. Like I said, guys, we are going to start working on some more segments and stuff like that, just to kind of get you all more involved with us and everything. We don't want to just sit here and talk at you. We want to talk with you. So, we're going to try to get, a little bit more interactive here and see what we can do and everything to bring you all a more entertaining show. We appreciate you all being here as much as you all are. We love you guys. We couldn't do this without you all. We appreciate you all tuning in. I don't care if it's one or two of you. You guys are awesome. We appreciate it. But
before we jump off, though, I got a couple things I want to go over real quick.
Okay.
I'll make them quick. I'm going to do the results of Raw. We're talking about
Okay.
January 19th, 2026. I don't know if everybody's watched. If you're not, spoiler alert. Um, we had the heavyweight championship was CM Punk versus Finn Balor in Finn Balor's home country.
That was a
And
good match.
yes, it actually was, with CM Punk defeating him. We had the Women's Intercontinental Championship with Becky Lynch going against Maxine Dupree, which she ended up losing again with some assistance from Natalia. Um, Obviously, that's going to be a kind of interesting storyline since that's
Yeah,
supposed
that
to be,
was surprising to see Natalia grab her leg and pull it up on the
yeah,
ropes.
that's going to be her. That's supposed to be her mentor, and then she demolished her afterwards.
You know, Maxine Dupree is LA Knight's sister.
Is it for real? I had
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah, he was Max Dupree.
Wow, I'm learning something new today. I love that shit. And then we had the 6-man tag, which featured Rey Mysterio Jr., Penta, Dragon Lee versus Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Austin Theory, with the Rey and Penta and Dragon Lee winning that one. That was a pretty decent one. And let's see, the only other storyline kind of going right now is the Gunther and AJ Styles, and they decided on a match where Gunther wants AJ Styles to put his career on the line. Um, Obviously, we kind of see that coming with AJ's retirement coming up, so nice little setup.
You know what would make the whole Gunther thing even better? And I think
Yeah,
I may have said this last week, or not last week because we didn't shoot last week, but the week before. The only thing to me that would make this Gunther thing better is if now that he has beaten and retired John Cena,
mm,
aka the WWE's
greatness.
handmade goat, their version of LeBron. Um, I can't say that he's better at his job than LeBron is, but 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 is if Gunther started using the attitude adjustment as his finishing move.
Ah, disrespect. Oh, the
That would
disrespect.
be awesome. That would be the best, no pun intended, FU
True,
ever.
true, true. That would be. I ain't gonna lie. All right, let's see. Now I'm gonna run the SmackDown real quick. That's from January 23rd, 2026. We had, let's see, the WWE Tag Team Champion, which was featured the MFTs, Sola and Tonga versus the Wyatt Six. And on that, we had the MFTs winning that one.
Okay, so MFTs are the champions now.
Let's see. Yep, MFTs defeated the Wyatts to win the titles. Yes.
Okay.
In the United States Championship, we got Carmelo Hayes versus Drago. I'm killing this last name. My bad, y'all.
Oh, Dragunov, Ilya
Yeah,
Dragunov.
Dragunov. Okay, yeah. So I knew I was, but we got Carmelo winning that one, and then we had a contenders match with Kiani James and Julian
Julia.
Julia versus Alexis Bliss, Charlotte Flair versus Lash Legend and Nia Jax, with Kiani James and you're gonna have to say this name,
Julia.
Julia winning. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh God, I feel terrible. And singles match, we had Nathan Frazier defeat Johnny Gargano. I don't know.
Gargano.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell that is. Honestly, I
He's
I
the
could tell
dude.
you he is
He's the
very
dude who's
forgettable.
in DIY.
Oh,
Him
okay,
and
okay.
Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh, okay. Never mind, never mind. And then we had Randy Orton delivering a RKO to Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. We had Cody Rhodes have a sit down with Jacob Fatu over their beef. So definitely gonna be interested in that 4-way match tonight between Trick, Sami Zayn, Randy Orton, and who am I missing? Oh, Damian Priest. I forgot.
Yeah.
Gonna be a hell of a match. But that's all I got. Just want to make sure we ran over those recaps real quick.
Well, let me ask you this, because I don't think we've got any more time until it's next week, I believe, the Royal Rumble. You got any predictions for who's going to win it?
No, because I honestly don't know everybody that's in it right now, and I don't really see any clear favorites.
I'm predicting LA Knight comes back and wins.
It'd be nice, and shit, God, it'd be nice for him to just get that, or like a Money in the Bank. Either one, I think he's earned it. But
or we could just put him in the world title picture and let him win the damn thing.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying?
They're not gonna let that happen. I'm telling you.
Right. That'd be too obvious. But for the women, I don't know.
That's a lot open too.
I could see maybe Rhea Ripley winning it.
Nah, I think she's. I was gonna say maybe a chick from. Sorry, knocked my microphone down. Probably from like NXT. I think they're gonna try to give them a little push.
Yeah, but who though?
Now that's the $1 million question.
I think if it's not somebody fresh and new, it's probably going to be like Rhea or Charlotte.
But do you really want to see them again? I mean, I want to see somebody different. I mean, maybe a Maxine Dupree, which I don't think she can handle it. But
well, you know, Becky Lynch is talking about she's retiring.
What about Lash Legends? I would say like a Jade Cargill, but I don't think she needs it since she already has the belt.
Yeah, I don't see Jade win. Jade will be doing something else.
Yeah, so it's like
I don't know, man. Like
maybe,
the women's,
like I said, for the women, maybe like Lash Legend since she's come on the scene.
That's kind of what.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's kind of what makes the women's division so good is that it's so just open.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to like determine who could win and everything. But yeah, I don't have anything else. You got anything else, Uncle Slim?
No, I think that's it. I'm tapped out.
Yes. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all being here. Like we said, we're going to try to start bringing y'all some different kind of segments and interactive stuff to have some fun with us and everything. Talk with us on the show and stuff. But for this episode, that referee has hit that 3 count, so you know what that means. We are going to ring that damn bell.